Hello and welcome to my channel Computer Classes by Rachna. Today we'll talk about database triggers. So what are database triggers? They are stored procedures or just block of code. They automatically execute whenever some event occurs. The events could be related to DML, which means the data manipulation, like insert, update, or delete statements or queries on a table. And they can also be because of the data definition language statements like create table, alter, drop table, etc. So whenever an event takes place, the database triggers can be executed. Their characteristics, they can execute automatically, they are not manually invoked, and they are automatically activated by the defined event. They are event driven, which means they are associated with specific events related to a table or a block. Then we can say they maintain the data integrity. They enforce the business rules if present. For example, that whenever we have certain rules, like let's say we keep the voting details, and for that we have a rule that age should be greater than 18. So the triggers also enforce the rules. So we can have the age greater than 18, only then the person can vote. Another example could be, let's say the minimum salary of the employee would start with 20,000 in a company. So these are certain rules which can also be maintained through triggers. Then we have auditing and logging. So the data triggers can be used to record historical data, they can track the changes, etc. Then they enforce security, they implement the policies, like the users which are allowed to access the data will be given access according to their privileges. Then automation of task. They automate routine tasks like generating column values, performing some calculations based on certain changes. For example, let's say on the maturity of the particular investment which is being made, when that investment matures, the trigger will be generated automatically on that particular date or after those particular years. So we have different types of triggers based on the time. So we have the triggers which are called as before triggers. We have the triggers which are called as after triggers, and we have the triggers which are called as instead of triggers. So before triggers execute before triggering of the event occurs. So this allows for data validation modification before the actual change is committed. So before committing that change, the trigger will occur. After triggers execute after the event occurs. It is useful for the actions that depend on the changes being successfully employed, such as updating the related tables or logging. For example, let's say every year the rate of interest increases by 5%. So when that particular date reaches, the rate of interest would increase. Then instead of triggers, they are used with views and they execute instead of DML operation, allowing for updates on complex views that might not directly be updated. So we can say that instead of that particular action which was supposed to be taken, we can have these instead of triggers. So these are the triggers based on timings. Then we also have triggers based on events. So we can have DML triggers which are activated by DML statements like insert, update, or delete. We have DDL triggers activated by create, alter, or drop statements. And we have log on triggers when a user log in to the database through a user ID and password. Then also we can have triggers created. So these are the different types of triggers, and we will see more examples of triggers in the next video. Thank you.